Let's go, people. Good morning. Let's run these credits and let's go. Let's do this. Good morning, everybody. Oh, that's Tuesday. That's your Monday. Happy Monday morning. Welcome. Hello. Episode 4 of Morning Coffee Pod with BF and Stormee. Happy Monday. Let's see. Get some of these graphics kicking. Today is Monday, January 23rd. We're glad you're here with us. Happy Monday, friends. We give our chance for our friends to gravitate into the feed. This should be coming to you on my BF Bobby Fran Armchair Comic channel. I'm coming to you from my Bobby Fran Twitter and from the new Armchair Comic Facebook group. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I see 4 people are with us already. Thank you. Happy Monday. I was going to say we're going to start off your podcast week, but the boys over at Patreon have already started that. So we're just going to get together and chat. Talk about podcasts. Let's say hello in the chat to Scott Fitzpatrick. Checking in. Good morning, buddy. I know you said in the past this is an early hour for you, so I appreciate you waking up and acknowledging us in the chat already. Let's see. All right, let's get this date down. Let's see what our friend Stormie's up to. We'll bring her in and check out. Let's say hello to co-host of Coffee With. Let's say hello to Stormee of Coffee With. Let's say hello to Stormee. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good.
Check
How
one.
are you?
Very good. Check one. Very good. I keep hearing my feedback coming in, but I can hear you
next?
very good. How you doing this morning? But I can hear you very good. How you doing this morning?
I'm all right. I'm just trying to get used to all this new stuff I've got and figure out all the settings.
Yes, it is. It's a lot. It's a big technological curve. And, the learning curve. And the learning
no matter
curve.
how you prepare,
and no matter how you prepare, you
this
are.
stuff tends to like
This
just go
stuff
up on
tends
you.
to like just go up on you right before you go on air.
Yeah.
Right
Are
before
you
you go
hearing
on
me double
air.
as well?
Are you hearing me double as well?
No.
Okay, I'm hearing me double.
Okay,
so
I'm
I'll
hearing
just
me
deal with
double,
that. So I'll just deal with that.
Okay.
So having
Having
a good morning so far. You got
off to school
get
and
the kids off to school and whatever.
Yeah, we were running a little late this morning. My son didn't want to get to the bus, but we made it.
Monday Blues.
I saw that you
showed up
in the
Uncle Rico feed a little late and saying that you were running late.
You might not have known that.
You might not have known that Bob was late also.
Yeah, I barely caught that, and I could kind of tell he looked like he just woke up.
Yeah, he looked like his hair was freshly brushed with his pillow.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, so those guys
Yeah,
are
so
cutting.
those guys are
I was
cutting.
saying we might start the podcast day, but they actually started over there. So I figure we'll just start and talk. I know we got a lot of pods. To talk about. Chat about our day. Chat about our day, and got a lot of podcasts. To talk about, and podcasts I'll be on later. We're gonna cover it all. Let's see. We got any more comments before we get on to the next thing? My sister Kathy checking in. And what is she saying? I are double up here. Wow. Yeah. I left and came back on. So
does it help?
No, I don't think it's that. It seems like more of a. It seems like more of a feedback glitch.
I don't know how to fix
All right,
that.
well, let's try to go on and see if it don't.
Hearing.
Let's see what to say. Hearing BF twice and story volume is a little low. Yeah. Well, I can try to put myself out and put it back in, but it didn't work before. Let's try. Here we go. 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2. All right, still coming back. Not sure why yet. Still coming back. Not sure why yet. Let's see. And Kathy says, good morning, Scott. All right. Well, as we're starting. Well, do a little weather as we're here. Starting. Do a little weather here. All right. Share the screen. So you can see it's mostly clear across the country. Pretty
I just
cold.
hit the echo cancellation button on mine. Maybe that'll help.
Yeah, maybe. Sometimes that just, it stops some interference. Let's see. So far, so good. I'm not hearing myself. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Fine.
Cool. Might have canceled my
that's what it
echo.
was.
Cool. All right. Yes, there's always some technical bugs, and I literally sit here for hours going over technical aspects of these shows and how I can make things better and run smoother. And no matter what you do, something about that countdown before showtime starts where shit just goes wrong on you. So we appreciate you being here. We're sounding a little smoother now. It's kind of a symbolic for the Monday morning, right? You wake up late, you get a rough start, you got to get the sleep out of your eyes and out of your computer's eyes. So as I was saying, we got the radar here. Most of the country is clear. Let's see. You can see there's your infrared satellite. Go down to your It's kind of cold, chilly. It's dreary here on the East Coast. How's it where you're at right now, Stormee?
It's kind of chilly, but it's not too bad. Just a light jacket, but I don't mind being a little cold. But once it starts snowing, I'm not good with that. But it's not too bad right now.
Yeah, I like snow. I like snow if I can just sit in my house and view it. But when you have to go out in life and navigate it, that's when snow is not as appealing to me, when you have to like get it out of your way in order to live life. But I do love sitting in there and looking at. Let's see. Right. We got the morning hellos to each other. I love this. Seems okay. Yes, we're figuring out that technology, Kat. Stormee's figuring out that gear. We got things going good. And Kathy says, good morning, Stormee. All right, very good. Well, before it ends up being cold coffee I always try to start the show with a fresh hot cup of coffee and try to drink it before the show ends. You're smart. You drink the cold coffee, right?
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about what I have to worry about, letting it get cold. All right. So as we discussed last week, we said that every day seems to be a holiday for someone or something. I've noticed this trend. So we're going to look at our national calendar today and start off and see what the national holidays are today. Now, today's first national holiday, for those of you who didn't know, is National Pie Day. Wow. Did you know it was National Pie Day, Stormee?
Nope, not till just now, but I can get down with that.
You can get down with that? Hey, break it down. Now, I'm not the biggest pie person. I like some like lemon meringue pie every now and then, but pie, are you a big pie person?
Pizza's a pie, right?
Yes.
I not all pie, but pizza's a pie, so I like pizza.
Well, if you're getting it technical, then I'll go with pizza. If pizza is technically a pie, then I'm your boy. I'm right there because I love some bad pizza. I always say I like bad cafeteria pizza, or like kids used to go to the roller skating rink and I'd eat that pizza. I came up on bad pizza, so I have no fear of bad pizza. So let's break down some of the pies here.
I like to put it in the refrigerator and eat it the second day.
So they had here's the now, okay, so you're a cold pizza person then?
Yeah.
See, I'm not the biggest cold pizza person. I know people that can just pick it up from anywhere it exists and eat it at room temperature. Not me. I got to heat every time. That's my little pet peeve. But I know a lot of people do like day old or room temperature or even cold pizza. So, all right, here's a pun intended. Let's look at the pie chart. And here you can see the breakdowns of the pies that people do like. Looks like 37% apple. We got some cherry coming in at 14%, pecan and blueberry. I eat pretty much none of those. Then you got 24% up there. I do like cheesecake though.
I don't really eat any of that. Yeah, pie. It's a cake.
Thank you. Yeah, not a big pie person, but today is National Pie Day for those of you who are interested in such a thing. And then let me see. We have a more special holiday today. That was the other thing I note, but that caused me to notice that. It was like it seemed like there were multiple things on these national holidays. And initially I thought, wow, if it's their day, it must be like the only thing, like nobody else can have that day. But apparently there can be 2, 3, or 4 different things going on these national days. So let's see. There was one more. I think today is also National Handwriting Day.
Oh,
there it is. National Handwriting Day. Now, what is your? I guess you have good handwriting. Are you big on handwriting, or
I
are you a letter
can,
writer?
but it's usually not very good because I'm used to sitting from work in like courtrooms and like writing stuff really quickly. So usually I can only read it and I have to like translate it later.
Well, you got to transcribe your stuff. Yeah, well, I know that handwriting has become a lost art, and you're hearing more and more years go by that they're even kind of saying it's kind of unnecessary to teach in schools, and I don't really understand why. It'd be a lost art of letter writing, but you at least have to learn how to write your signature, but yeah, it seems like handwriting, I would never imagine that handwriting would become a lost art. I thought it was something that we were always going to kind of need. But it is funny because now with computers and all, when I do go to fill out greeting cards or something, I do find myself like fumfering or like overthinking how to write because I just don't do it a lot anymore.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
it's National Handwriting Day today. So yeah, greeting cards, it probably is like my most greeting cards or thank you notes if somebody like sends us something or condolences or something. Yeah, but yeah, it's funny how if I overthink it when I'm like at Christmas was the most recent time I had to fill out a card, and I found myself like if I stopped myself and thought, it messed me up trying to write. So let's see.
Me too. I do that.
Oh shit! Look at Scott goes hard in the paint. He said, "I've eaten pizza crusts out of my trash the next day." Woo, bro. That is hungry, bro. That is cool. So that's today. So if you like pie today, or if you are a fan of handwriting, today is your day, people. So let's see. Let me close some of these screens out. All right. So I guess let's get into the matter at hand. We have a lot of podcasts to talk about. We take good notes as we're watching them. We just got done watching that Uncle Rico, and I managed to sneak a couple little witty comments in there that the boys like. Shout out Shuli and Mike and all them. Mm-hmm. Always appreciate those guys. So let's see. I'll throw the document up real quick that we share, and we throw our notes on, and we'll just start going down it, and we'll just talk about our favorite podcasts and what the day's going to bring. All right, so these were our notes that we took last week. Let's start with this was the last Tuesday show at MILF Manor. How about that one? They were showing, that kind of got creepy. They were showing the young sons having to be like felt up by the mothers. They had some kind of blindfolded contest. Wasn't that awfully creepy?
Yeah, it's the mothers, the MILFs, and their sons are the pick of the litter, I guess. I don't know how to word that.
Yeah, basically.
All the other moms, you bring the son, and then there you go.
Right. So they talked about this last week. This show coming on, it's called MILF Manor, and that was the twist to this show is that was it MILF Manor or MILF Island? I don't know. There's a couple of them, but I thought it was MILF Manor. But at any rate, it's the MILFs. They're there. They're looking for love again, you know. And then the surprise twist is that the men, these young boys that they have there for the picking, are essentially their sons, and they're going to all be mixed match. So the mothers are going to have to watch the son scoring with the other sons. It's just all so weird and dysfunctional. So they had a lot of fun talking about that.
Yeah.
And then we talked about how Bob does the poses. Remember they had that Asian lady on there who was doing the poses, like 100 poses in a minute or something. Yeah. It looked like really bad voguing, and like Bob was doing it. I mean, you can just come up and say that you specialize in everything, but that was just funny. Yeah, this woman's like, yeah, she's like doing this shit. It looks like, I don't know, like they said, it looked like she was trying to send signals to steal a base or something. I don't know what it was, but apparently this is something.
Language at first.
Yeah. I thought. Speaking of sign language, that just reminded me of another topic that we talked about they talked about on one of the shows. These sign language people that show up at these hurricanes and these emergencies, no one questions them, and they come in doing all this stuff, and come to find out after the fact that they're merely just snuck in and are just doing gibberish. Like it takes a deaf person after the fact to tell them that they're not saying anything. They're like just like doing the same thing like that woman does. So I don't know how people, and like the town official said, we don't question it. When somebody showed up, they said, I didn't call for a signer, but here, come on and run in the room. And the person just got instant access just like that. So that's kind of odd. Let's talk about now. Last week we were.
That makes them want to go in and just start moving their hands in front.
Like what is it that?
I mean, what makes them want to go in and just?
Exactly, Stormy, because until that man characterized it like that, I thought that maybe these were like known employees or entities because they had the access. But he made it sound like, this woman just showed up and he said, I didn't call for one, but hey, why not? So, right, if she's not being paid, what is the motivation for her to show up and just like do like shitty hand signals to it? So I don't follow that either. But let's see. Let us see.
Death, that what they would do, leading the deaf to death if you're in an accident.
Right, and then I mean, I would fear that I would be exposed by a deaf person within a matter of minutes nowadays, because people can like email and message people like that, and so I would be super like, I wouldn't do it, and I would be ashamed and paranoid, thinking that somebody's going to figure me out any minute. So I don't understand that. Okay, shout out, good morning. I say good morning to the OJ show, people. Good morning, OJ. There you go. I see OJ. He in the van. He is scared. Let's see. To be on TV. That's right, Kath. That probably is. It's probably just that sickness of just that fame sickness. It's all hand job, right, Scott? Do that. Great hand job. It's like those dances, but you'll see at 11 o'clock this morning when the boys do the BS show, they love starting with that Mark Rebier song about time to get up, and then they're all in there dancing. And Bob, I always say Bob looks like he's doing like the Michael J. Fox dance, because he's frantic and he's doing all this stuff. So that's why I think of the hand jive or the Michael J. Fox dance. I say, why are you doing the Michael J. Fox, Bob? Chuck, deaf girls give the best hand jive. Hey, Chuck. Thanks for checking in, bro. Chuck was nice enough to be the first person to join the Armchair Comic Channel Facebook group. I'd like to start my own group so I don't have to use my old stuff to broadcast. So shout out if you're watching us on Facebook, on the Armchair Comic Channel, or BF Bobby Fran, or on my Twitter. Good morning. 5 people watching, and we hope you're having a good Monday morning so far as we talk about our favorite podcast and what's happening for the podcast day. Last week, I think I told you a couple weeks ago that Bo Shetty had this personal pattern that I noticed of backing out on the Miserable Men. And we were watching the BS show last week.
Yep.
And what happened, and that's exactly what happened during it, wasn't it, Stormy?
Yeah, it was. And I noticed that he showed up on Misery Loves Company and didn't have any problems for one episode, maybe 2, but I think 1. But for Miserable Men, it's always a complicated thing.
Yeah, so I was thinking, so I pointed this out to you for a reason, because this is a pattern that I had noticed just subtly from Bichetti. It's like the guys they wanted him on Miserable Men many times, and he was always sick or something. And after a while, it got to be 2 times, 3 times, and I'm like, okay, it's a pattern now. Then I pointed it out to you. Then it happened again. So at least it's not just me in my head. But yeah, there is some aversion or something going on where just Bo Shetty just can't wake up, turn on the thing, and come in to the show. So sure enough, during last week's BS show, Tuesday's BS show, Bo Shetty texted Mike Morse live and said, hey, I know I'm supposed to come in tonight on the Miserable Men, but I woke up and I'm not feeling good. So that happens again. All right. And one of the last things we'll talk about on that episode from last week, the BS show, and we'll tell you where to go get it this morning because the guys are going to be on following this stuff up. So this is you called this in our notes, which is appropriate, the strangest duet in history. Rat Boy, a.k.a. Pete DiLorenzo, New York, with the Russian singing girl. This was some kind of show, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. She looked like someone to punch him in the face.
Yeah, there was a lot of a deer in the headlights vibe, and I don't know how to handle this tactfully, and I wish I could kick this asshole off the stage kind of thing. It was, and look at him. He's doing his like Sammy Davis Jr. with a mullet kind of thing. It was crazy, and he tells her to like start the song, and then he ends up starting the song. So it was just all over the place. This guy, Pete DiLorenzo, they talk about on the BS show. This guy looks like he's from the 80s, but this is actually from the early 2000s. He was that every guy entertainer. He thinks the jack of all trades. He thinks he's good at everything, and just no filter. And the boys just love watching his videos and kind of dissecting him, much like the Stuttering John stuff. Let's see. Shout out on Facebook. Well, shout out. Boschetti was funny with Artie Lang years ago. Yes, he was. I loved Artie Lang had that beautiful setup when he had I know I get it's a Direct TV. When he did that show for Direct TV, he had a beautiful studio, great setup. He had great guests on there, and Boschetti was funny with Artie years ago. Yeah, I agree with that, Scott. I missed that. Every now and then I'll go back and watch one of those old episodes. All right, and then
that picture, that piece
yes,
here looks a lot fuller for some reason.
Yeah, like was this blowout? Was it like blowout day for him or something? Let's look at that real quick. Yeah, look at that. Look, he's got the fresh blowout going on. Got the poofy hair. Yeah. He was John Bonboni or something. I don't know what he's got going on there. But let's see. All right, and then they did the BS. That was Tuesday's BS show. And then so we'll move on to Thursday's BS show where it says Shuli getting text from someone claiming to be Stuttering John, telling Shuli the price is going higher for him to start doing shows. So yeah, they're trying to get Stuttering John to play along and say, hey man, look, we're not just trying to make money because of you. We'll have you join us and make money and be like part of the joke, but he doesn't want any part of it. I mean, what do you think about all this Stuttering John stuff in hindsight, Stormee? Because I don't really believe that you were down with any of this when he was on the show, right? What do you think about this, being a new like listener about this?
And kind of just taking, there wouldn't be anything not already made fun of, really. But it's not really something that he couldn't embrace and kind of just roll with.
Yeah. As far as entertainment value, do you find it entertaining not knowing nothing about him and then seeing how these guys are dissecting his past? Do you find that entertaining, not being familiar with his past?
But sometimes it's hard to follow. I have to kind of listen closely as to like some of the backstories that they give. But for the most part, it's entertaining. It's just sometimes I have to wonder, is he just sitting there laughing? Like, keep doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. He has no personal awareness about him. But how about this morning when they carried out this interview he was doing with this sex doctor or whatever they were talking about, who's very shy about talking about sex for whatever reason. And how about today? Yeah. He said behind the men's helmet, he didn't say there are glands. He said there are glons.
Yeah.
Did you hear him say glons this morning?
Yeah, he was trying to educate her about the male anatomy, and he couldn't even, and he's got it, and he couldn't even tell her the right terminology.
Yeah, he's basically man-speaking to a professional, trying to convince her that he doesn't have glands, he has glons. So I'm like, yep. I typed in glons, I am glons, and I am Franz, glons and Franz, and fucking Shuli liked that. He put that up right away, so shout out Shuli. So that's what I like about it, just kind of riffing and seeing where it goes. So, yeah, I mean, he'll say glons, like, who the hell says glons? No one says glons, but John. And she corrected him right away, so let's see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she seemed offended at some points, but then she was intrigued by him, too. Like, if it were me, I would have just ended it, but she kept going.
And you talk, well, yeah, I guess she seemed like a professional, and she was like barreling and pushing herself through it. But yes, she was uncomfortable, and I think we as viewers were uncomfortable for her because I felt like any conversation that John has about sex, anything he says about sex, just sounds dirty coming out of his mouth and inappropriate. Oh, and I also said this morning that John was doing this. Did you notice? As the more sexual the talk got, here's what he did. Yeah. His nose was practically in the screen, like he was going to accost her with his nose or something. Like I think he felt if he could like say enough creepy stuff and get close enough, he would actually be able to like touch her or something. So
yeah, he was definitely trying to get her work his magic, so to speak.
Oh my God. You talk about a guy that has no game and no gauge. I mean, no matter how many ways she put it, like he just kept he kept coming back and trying to be sexual and trying to throw innuendo around and try to trick her into having sexual talk with him. But it was odd what the boys pointed out this morning is that for someone who's supposed to be a podcast talking about sex and sexuality, she had like these words like, I don't say the V word. You know, she wouldn't say the V word. Yeah. Now, come on. Now, have you ever seen Dr. Ruth from back in the day? Dr. Ruth gives no Fs. Dr. Ruth will say everything. She's like, you take the penis into the vagina, and you put the penis in the vagina. You know, she'll do all that shit. Yeah. I mean, Dr. Ruth, how can you? Hoo, yeah, I don't understand how she expects to carry on adult conversations about sexuality and act like that she's never going to have to refer to it by these names or hear these references. And yeah, so I found that very let's see, there we go. Found that very odd indeed. Let's see, we got some comments up here. Deaf Girl's good, but we got that one, yes. Go back, let's see. Bushetti was funny. Let's see. Facebook user, good morning, I'm at work. Well, hello everybody, whoever is at work, good morning. I hope it can keep you company while you're at work. It's BF and Stormee, Ep.4. A coffee as morning coffee pod. Let's see. No, John. Those are called warts. Yeah, that dude, John, has just no sense and no filter. And I think they've done 3 shows now just going over this interview with this reporter and all of the inappropriate things he says and his mannerisms and just the fact that he makes everything about him, and it's just fun. And like I said, the riffing, I enjoy the riffing that comes off of that. Not so much talking about him or having to put him down. That's all well and good too. But I love the thought processes and where the shows go. Also on the last Wednesday, let me go back to my notes. Wednesday morning BS show, the boys played that Make Bob Puke game. Do you remember where they did the baby aspirator and they showed the video? You remember that, Shuli?
Yeah, that was pretty hard for me to watch.
Now, I never did the flush aspiration, but we did have the aspirators where you had to put the little bulb up there and extract. We would try to extract things if their nose was too clogged, but I never did the old flush and fill. You said you never done that either?
No, I would have been scared to do that to an infant or a little baby because, I mean, what if I don't know. I would have been scared to do that, to mess up their
exactly. Like you could too much pressure, or you feel like you're flushing their brains or their soul out of them or something. So It was gross, and I'm not much on gross stuff. You know, it might not make me puke, but I don't really need to see it. But like Bob just hearing it, and they kept showing it over and over again. The stuff coming out of the one side of the baby's nose. Yeah. So that was funny, and that is necessary for some people. But I've never done that.
It's definitely hard to watch first thing in the morning too.
Absolutely. Who wants to see it? Yeah.
It's hard to watch the first thing, for
sure. Yep. So that was up to Wednesday, and these guys we're going to talk about the last Thursday's bonus show, and then we're going to show you where you can find today's show. They're going to be on at 11 o'clock today in about a half hour from now. So we're going to run through these, and we're going to go over there. We're going to try to be over there to a tight hour today. All right. So let's see. Put our notes up here. See, the Thursday bonus show, they had that was the power slap. Say that again. All right, so we have the power slap show with Dana White.
In such a short amount of.
Yeah, we do. We do have a lot of notes and all, but we'll try to get it all in there for sure. Yeah, we do. A lot of podcasts, and we took some good notes, and we really enjoyed watching them and talking about all the funny stuff. So we'll get to what we can. So yeah, they had the Thursday bonus show. They got the power slap show with Dana White, which I'm not a big fan of. I've seen those. We've done some of those videos on some of the shows where those guys over in Europe do the big power slapping and all, but he's just formalized it and made it more of a competition. And then the Lenny or Chad conversation. I don't remember too much about that. Do you remember that from last Thursday? People were wanting Lenny over Chad for Miserable Men.
Oh yeah, they were just trying to decide which one they, would rather have. What is Lenny preferred choice or Chad on the show? Just to toss that idea around to see which one you would rather be on, have on screen for entertainment purposes.
Yeah. Well, I will say that even though Chad can be disruptive and sometimes he gets disrespectful trying to shoot back at them guys. I guess he's desperate, but he does kind of bring more chatter and more fodder to a show as to where Lenny just sits there and you kind of have to pull everything out of him. So, but yeah, so after that BS wrap up right there, let me stop sharing that screen and start sharing this one. I got another one to share with you. So that was the BS show wrap up. If you can see those on YouTube. As a matter of fact, go to the Shuley Network page. Shout out Shuley. Shuley Egar is killing it. There you go. There's waiting for BS show episode 22. Starts in 27 minutes. You can go over there and watch that. You can go see Bob do his early morning Michael J. Fox dance. All the boys dance and have a good time, and they start off their day in a funny way. So you can go check those boys out.
Looks like
over
he's
there.
at a rave some days.
Yeah, it's some kind of rave, isn't it? Let's see. He is funny. And then we're going to talk about Out of the Coffin in a couple of minutes, too. That was funny. Bob's New Venture. Shout out to the 5 people joining us on Monday morning. We hope to help you start your Monday morning off and start your week off in life and podcasting and everything, letting you know what we watched last week, what's coming up this week. Let's see. And while I'm here real quick, you can see the variety of shows over there on the Shuley Network. Just go over there and subscribe to it, fill in that bell, and you'll get all the notifications. The BS show, the Uncle Rico show. Last night, they had the Uncle Rico show with Anthony Cumia. That's always fun because he loves getting in there with the boys about the Stuttering John stuff. Miserable Man. Here's the first episode of Out of the Coffin with Bob Levy. That was fun last week. He did that Friday night. He did almost a solid 2 hours by himself. What'd you think about that, Stormee?
That's crazy. It takes some skill to hold an audience so captive, so to speak, for that long by yourself. That's pretty awesome.
I agree. That is the mastery that is Bob Levy, and that who else can just sit in front of a screen by himself? You throw the chat comments in front of him and just flash them up on the screen, a couple pictures, and he just riffs and goes for like basically 2 hours, and it's endlessly entertaining. So at 11 o'clock today, or anytime BS show will be on, but anytime you want to, go over to the Shuley Network. And you can find it all over here on YouTube. Although he does have a Shuley Patreon too that we'll talk about as well. Let's get some of these comments. Take this down real quick. I'll pick up the pace of the show. We might run over a little bit, but let's not try to. Let's see. These are called words. Let's see. Our boy Jerry checking in. Shuley is also Bob Coffin with coffee. No, wait a minute. Got me confused on that one. Anthony was something crazy. Let's see. And Bob is the legend. That's right. Thanks for checking in, Jerry. Jerry's always in our chats and supporting us and always shouting out Coffee With and all the stuff we do. So thank you, Jerry. Good morning, bro. All right. Let's see. See if we can keep. All right. Now we can talk about Levyland. Last week on Levyland on the Shuley Network that they did last Tuesday, Bob Levy announced the new show coming on with him and Kevin breaking down In Hot Water. Now that kind of was a leaky thing that got out, wasn't it, Stormee? That wasn't supposed to get out, was it, necessarily?
No, it didn't seem like it. Shuley came on shortly after he said that, and it seemed like he was, trying to tell him you shouldn't have said anything, but
yeah,
too late.
Yeah, basically, he said we discussed this once in passing in backstage and all, and then I'm listening to the show, and then there's Bob out there blurting it out. So yeah, I think he let a little cat out of the bag, and I've noticed some of the other shows have picked up on this and are kind of like rubbing it in and letting people know, hey, guess what? These guys are going to be doing a Gino show. But then what happened yesterday? If you watch yesterday, Miserable Men was supposed to be on later on. All of a sudden, before the football game came on, the guys do what they do to us sometimes, and they just surprise, and they showed up on the air, and their guest was none other than Gino Bisconti. How about that? That was something, wasn't it?
That was something. I wasn't expecting it at all. Whenever I first tuned in, it was right after the intro, so I didn't, see him for a second because I didn't have my screen up, and I just heard his voice, and I was like, wait a minute, who's that?
Yeah, it was quite unexpected, but not so much if you know Shuley, because Shuley is much like Bob in that, and Shuley doesn't want these guys fighting or anything. And I put out in a tweet, I said that's Shuley using his come together voodoo power to unite the family, because I believe my sense is that's what he's trying to do. I don't think anybody, Bob or Shuli, they don't want any of these fights or arguments or this back and forth, not even for heat for their shows. These guys are true friends, and they carry on. Gino carries on the show, and I believe that Shuli brought him on as kind of like a peace offering, or kind of being that uniter kind of guy. I really felt that was the vibe, and so much so that after the show, I tagged people in it to let people know that it was on live, and I tagged Gino in it, and Gino retweeted me, and he said, "Hey, this was fun. Sorry I didn't know till last minute, or I would have tweeted this out earlier." So I really got the sense that Gino liked it, and that Gino was into it, and he even liked the tweet when I said that Shuli is trying to reunite these guys, because I think he knows what's up too, and I really think on some level Gino doesn't want to be carrying on the way he does with Bob and them.
No, I don't think so either. I think they need content, and I think they don't need to they try not to break their character, and that's kind of what they have to gravitate towards when it comes to, situations on shows.
Yeah, and I even question it because like you said, they need content, and they go into character, like you said. They might be nice on this show, but I was thinking like he might come on today, Monday, and just go right back into the Gino character like that never happened, based on some of the other stuff I saw. But I would like to see long term them guys kind of get along. I'd like to see Bob go in and do the whole day at Compound like he used to, just start from the dump and go all the way to Okumuya. Now, did you notice last week that he didn't make it in time because of the rain? He didn't make it in for the Thursday Compound show.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't like to get out in the rain.
Wow. I'll say someone left the Levy out. How about that? I use an umbrella. Fuck, I'm not doing that. Using an umbrella is too much trouble, apparently. Yeah, so he told Okumuya last night on the special that was on the Blunder Uncle Rico. They name him so many different things, like Uncle Rico. That he said, "Yeah, I'll be in Thursday as long as it ain't raining." They were like, "Yeah, if it's not raining." Let's see. I'm on break. Hello, on break. Well, enjoy your break. We hope to help you enjoy your break because you're watching Morning Coffee Pod with BF and Stormee, where we just talk about news in our life and what's going on, and we talk about the podcast that we like. We're talking about Levy Land right now. And then on that Levy Land last week, they were also obsessed with doing a test to see if Rob Saul was gay. How about that? That was fun, huh?
Yeah, that was interesting. At first I thought they were trying to set him up.
Yeah. I thought so too, and he kind of did too. He's like, "Oh, you're setting me up for the first one. Like, have you ever had like feelings for a man?" And that was kind of vague. Like Truly said, he's like, "I got you on the first question." He's like, "You're busting on the first question." So let's see. Workflow. What's up, Workflow? Let's see. Jerry says, "Umbrella attacks me like an octopus." Yeah. Yeah.
Funny. Just get a rain jacket. Nothing else.
So I guess I remember My Lost Interest. Shout out, buddy. He said later on the Rob Saul show he was disappointed to find out that Rob wasn't gay. So I thought that was a funny comment. Yeah, that
is funny.
And then on that show they got into talking about Bob's new haircut, and then they asked him how much it would cost for him to shave his head bald, and that carried over onto some of the other shows. But yeah, Bob always had, poor Bob, every time he has to go get a regular haircut, there's always some issue. Either color's not right or his girl's not there. Something goes wrong. But I think most people with a hairdo kind of got it. What's that again?
I didn't realize he colors his hair.
Yeah, well they busted him for that like months ago. Like he would come on one show and they would show the pictures and like, "Bob, your hair wasn't this color this morning," and he would try to deny it until they showed pictures of him and he could really see the difference. But yeah, I guess it comes along with the territory being that old. Let's see. And then, last week on that show, Shuli came on that Levy Land, which was being shown on the Shuli Network, to give the official word that Levy Land is now part of the Shuli Network empire. So we were excited to hear that for those guys. So now you will see your regular Levy Lands. I believe they'll still be offered through through YouTube, but it will be by the way of the Shuli Network and all part of that umbrella and all part of that family. So, and we'll talk about some more surprises that came out if you're paying attention on another podcast of another guy that's coming over to the Shuli Network real soon. I think you know who I'm talking about. Let's see. So that was that one. Let's see. And then I think you made some notes about the Levyland episode that was on Friday at 12:30. You said their Levyland is keeping their Patreon that they have, their own separate Patreon. And matter of fact, they're going to do Levylands on there, and they're going to offer bonus Rob Saul shows. And you can catch me and Anthony Zenhauser and Rob Saul this afternoon today on a special bonus Rob Saul show. 12 noon today. So after this show, you can go watch the BS. And when you need something to watch at 12 o'clock, come click on your Patreon, Levyland Rob Saul show, and we'll be there. Special Rob Saul Patreon today. Shout out. Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about last week's Rob Saul show. Last week, Gino Bisconte was supposed to show up, but then he ended up being a no-show guest. That's not the first time, right? This is like the second time he's not shown, right? Yeah. Did you have a feeling he might not show, or did you have any feelings about it? Did you?
Yeah, I felt like maybe there was just that feeling, maybe because he hadn't shown before, maybe he wouldn't. But, I mean, it was kind of expected. I wasn't let down.
Yeah, I agree. It was kind of expected too, and for the same reasons, based on the fact that he was supposed to come on last time, and then for some reason, some kind of problem popped up, and he couldn't make it. But like I said, I think all in all, Gino is a good guy and a good funny guy. But when he gets on his rants about the COVID for too long, or if he goes in on Bob disrespectfully, that's when I have my issues with him. You know. Let's see, but.
He gets
he was supposed
really
to show
loud,
didn't
like he gets sometimes too loud and almost sloppy, like it's just kind of but I think
he is better. Loud, and I said, you know, he can be a fun guy, but you know, if you ever been to a bar and you're thinking about what stool to sit at, and you got that guy that's sitting there with a glass or two that he looked like he's already used in front of him, and he's being loud and he's carrying on, you're going to go down to the other end of the bar and sit. And that's how I feel sometimes when I watch Gino's show. It's not that he's a bad guy or anything, but he's like, oh, he's that drunk son of a bitch. It's going to he's going to sit at the bar and tell you all his politics and how he feels about it. And most people don't go to the bar for that shit too. You know, I don't go there for a show. I go there to vent, you know. Yeah. I would rather, if I'm going to take legal advice, I'm going to take it from somebody that took the bar, not somebody that sits at a bar, you know? So when I'm near those guys, I just kind of put myself elsewhere. And that's how I feel when I'm watching the show. It's like, if he gets too, you know, political or too ranty, I just go sit at the other end of the bar or go on another podcast and just watch something fun. Yeah. But let's see. Rob Saul show noon today. You're welcome. That's a Patreon bonus show. You got it. See you over there, Jerry. All right. Let's see. And then Rob did make the comment because, you know, these fans, when they like Levy, they can be brutal when you introduce a new show in the chat. And the first couple of weeks, it wasn't so smooth, but it gets better and better every week. The crowd they get more, they get, I want to say more nice, but they get nicer and it's more accepting, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So we talked about that on the Rob Saul show, and he said I didn't want to look at the comments, but I looked at the comments, and one of the first comments was, "I can't stand this guy." So I'm like, "Oh Christ!" And then I said right away, and it was from Chris Abels, you know. So the guys like that because you know those guys tend to like to bust each other's balls. Let's see. Bartender, Rob Saul legal advice. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's another. Well, that's bartenders have always been like more like psychiatrists or therapists, right? I guess they can give legal advice too. But shout out to my sister, my oldest sister Marge, who has passed. She was a bartender, barmaid, whatever you call it, for years. She owned a bar for a time, and I come to know over the years that she was that person. She was basically like a therapist for people that couldn't afford one. My sister was very compassionate and very eager to listen and help people with their problems. And this is the pattern I noticed out of her over the years. I'm like, you know, people, we're all called to serve in a different way. And I just discovered that was her way. And I know she affected many people positively doing that. So Rest in peace
Oh
to my
yeah,
oldest
I
sister,
bet she
Marge. I
did.
love you. Stormie's grandma is watching
Oh my god.
watching Ewans on the big TV right now. But come on, Grandma. Howdy, Grandma. Scott's mom. Good morning and welcome. We just talking about our day and talking about the podcast we like. Stormee is the one on the right, Grandma. All right. I don't have my long hair no more. She shouldn't be having those issues figuring out who Stormee is there, Scott. True story. All right, here we go. All right. So that was funny. So let's see. So we're going to the middle of the end. It's like 10:47 right now. You are watching Morning Coffee Pod with BF and Stormee. And like I said, you can catch the Levy Land over on the Shuli Network now. Go over to the Shuli Network and you'll get those live notifications of when Levy Land is coming on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. just before the Rob Soul shows, which comes on every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. And you can see me co-hosting. All right. So like I said, we got a lot to cover, so we got through that. Let's see what we got next here, Stormee. On our little handy-dandy note thing. We got The Miserable Men, show 90. It was 8 o'clock. Let's see. This one was good. They were talking about I guess Shuli rented a place. I don't know if it's Airbnb, but that's what most people recognize. Shuli rented a place for DabbleCon, and it came up about, Bob, you're going to need clothes to wear. And he's like, what clothes to wear? I'm going to have to get pajamas. I sleep in the nude. Did you catch those comments during that show, Stormee?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to bring him pajamas. I had the thought yesterday, they need to pack a muumuu and make him wear it.
Or a toga. He'll probably wrap around and sheet himself and call it like a toga party. Hey, shout out to the 6 people that are joining us live, Stormee. We're watching the Morning Coffee Pod. We're gonna try to rifle through what we got here, and then we're gonna go over there at 11 o'clock and watch the BS show with y'all. All right. So we talked about Rob. Yeah, but so hopefully Bob gets some pants because he can't be free balling in the house around the guys. And then in that episode, they watched that old video bit of him in the radio studio, Stormee, when he was kind of heavy set, and they had him eat all of those male enhancement pills. How about that?
Yeah, that was interesting. I at first I didn't know what was going on, and I picked it up pretty quickly. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yes. So I guess after the Stern days, he would go on radio shows because he always had many friends, and he would do their bits. And that was one where they took those over-the-counter, those penis pills, basically. And he took a shitload of them, and they had him in the studio, and he's like pointing to his junk and all this stuff. I like the note that I wrote.
Male enhancement.
There you go, male enhancement. So the other note that we wrote is I wrote, Bob was a little chubby in the video. And when I wrote it, I realized it had double meaning because not only was he pointing at his junk, but everybody was talking about how he had a little more weight on him.
Yeah, chubby had a chubby.
Yeah, there you go. So I think I was right on both counts. So I had to laugh at my note after I saw that. I'm like, it said Bob was a little chubby. I'm like, Bob was a little chubby in this video. I'm like, they might think I'm describing his junk or something. So I just wanted to clarify that he was, that might be the case, but he was also a little fat. He had a little weight back then. And the last great thing that they talked about in that show last week, The Miserable Men show, episode 90, was Bob got his job back driving Gina to work. How about that? He blew it, huh? He blew it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, left her high and dry because he slept through his alarm and finally got his privilege back.
He sure did. Now, isn't that something? And I feel bad for him. And I feel bad for both of them because I would hate the thought of her being stuck at a train station, or my wife or anybody, and having it be my fault. So I do feel bad for both of them. But
we don't have train stations here or anything like that. So I don't know what I would do.
Right. And is Uber a big thing in your area? I know it's bigger in metropolitan areas.
Not really, but I think you could probably find one, but you'd have to pay a lot for it because they'd have to drive pretty far to get to me, probably.
That makes sense. Yeah. So yeah, luckily she was in a high populated area. She was at a train station, so she was cold. But yeah, and I feel bad for Bob because I think Bob overall does try to, like, as much as Bob can do, tries to dote over Gina and take care of her as much as he can. But I feel his pain because, you know, you can be a man and you can try to do these things and keep up with your spouse, but you blow it one time and you get reset back to zero. You're like, the booty points go away. Any good deeds or anything he did, it just gets wiped off the map. So that was my takeaway from this. I feel bad for my dude because he has so he got the job back, and so he has to earn his stripes again, basically. So I feel his pain. Imagine Bob smoking in his smoke pants. Ron Bennington inventing smoke pants, invisible but covered in smoke. Yeah, that's the move, Jerry. They need to get him like a ascot and a smoking jacket, or get him one of those robes like the Bon Vivant Levy when he goes to the hotels and everything. So let's see. That's funny. Bob overslept and she pays the price. Outraged after her work. Yeah, we were all watching that day, and it was funny because he was on MLC getting the angry text from her, and he's running like a scared boy. Like, I got to make sure the front door is open. Like during the show, like he knew that he better not blow that part because he blew the rest. But I thought it was very honest and bold of him to like just read the raw text out, like, hey, you fucked up and I'm mad at you, and he read it. And that's what we like about Bob. There's no airs about him. Three-legged Bob, the human tripod. Yeah, when
it's funny.
Let's see, Stormee. Oh, there you go. Look, Jared, giving you a shout out. Stormee looks amazing for this early in the morning. There you go, Stormee. All right. So we're glad that Gina and Bob got there, because I would like to see them tape that, because you've seen little videos of their car rides, but I bet that is entertaining. Just that might be a show in itself. You just put a dash cam on them two and just watch their adventure of him like driving and have to get his coffee and cigarettes and navigate operating a car and getting her. I think that would be entertaining. But
yeah, I'm a passenger driver, so I mean, I can't let somebody else drive without, you know, trying to be controlling, kind of, in a sense. Whenever I don't know why I'm like that.
Do you put your foot?
I try to drive even from the passenger side.
Yeah, you put your foot on the imaginary brake and everything on your side when people aren't stopping fast enough. You do that stuff, yeah. Yeah. I've been known to do that. And then back in the day, before we had to wear seatbelts, my mother was the auto safety device. So I'd be sitting up in the front next to her, and we hit a sudden stop, and all of a sudden the arm would go like this. The arm would go like that, and that was the airbag back in my day. Mama airbag. You know, she stopped me from hitting the windshield and the dash. You say you did that too?
That to adults.
There you go. There you go. So that's it. That's your motherly ways. There you go. Shout out, Jerry.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. We can talk about this. It led to that out of the coffin, Bob. So yeah, the first episode was Friday night. It was a solo show. This was quite unexpected. I didn't know that they were doing this. Did you have a sense that this was coming? I think he froze up a little bit. Let's see. But Shuli did make an appearance on it, and people started complaining like, Bob's got this. Bob can be by himself, and kind of Shuli was like, okay, I'm out of here. But Bob was killing it, and I like the jacket. Like Shuli said, his wife, it took her like 30 seconds to notice that Bob had a shoulder pad jacket.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I thought that was hilarious. I said it looked like he stole that jacket from the Talking Heads video. You know?
Yeah.
Because it did. But they were coming up calling him Bum Johnson and stuff like that. I thought that was fun. I said that it looked like Rob was his stylist. And he said, no, Bobby friend, Rob's not my stylist. You know, he kind of gave me shit in the chat. So that was a lot of fun. All right. Let's see. Yep. All right. Well, Stormee, let's see. We got those notes. What else can we go through? We do have some more notes, but it is 5 minutes of. Yeah. And I think we got through most everything. So that was just talking about our favorite podcast. So let's wrap up the show and let's make our way over to the BS show. So I'll put this up real quick. So go to the Shuli Network on YouTube and you can see the free content there, or go to Patreon, patreon.com /the notifications for the stuff that doesn't make it on. So check that out. And let's see. And if you don't mind, please, I will share my page. If you could go out absolutely free to YouTube and type in BF Bobby Fran, the Armchair Comic channel, and subscribe to my page. I greatly appreciate it. You can see there's the Coffee With episode we're doing now, sports heads, and some other comments and things I do. And I'll be doing episodes of Brother Bob in the future, my televangelist thing. So you can see all that stuff
I miss Brother
right
Bob.
there on my. Say that again.
I miss Brother Bob.
You miss Brother Bob. Yeah, well, with the recent goings on, Stormee, we're going to need some healing. I think there's a need for healing, if you know what I mean. There's lots of people that need to be healed, so Brother Bob might have to make a return. So please, BF Bobby Fran on YouTube, the Armchair Comic. And let's see. Type in this here real quick. There it is. It is 10:57. Glad you joined us. 6 people still in the chat watching us live. We appreciate you all. We glad you joined us. We hope this gets your Monday morning and your day started off good. Talking about podcasts and just hanging out with some friends. We like going over all this stuff. And like I said, so the schedule for the rest of the day is we're going to go over 11 o'clock. We're going to go watch the BS show. And then at high noon, at 12 noon Eastern time, catch me, Anthony Zenhauser, and Rob Saul on Patreon, the Levyland Patreon, for a special bonus episode of the Rob Saul Show this afternoon. And that'll be today's fun. So I think that's it. Let's see what we got. A couple more comments here. Eagles destroyed the Giants. Yes, they did. If you want to touch on that real quick, they did, Jerry. That was impressive. That the Eagles beating the Giants, and then the Jags couldn't quite pull it out. They kind of made too many mistakes. So that's going to be interesting. Eagles Niners for the NFC Championship game. So we'll have to see how that goes. And Dallas, though they said they haven't been to a championship game since like 95 or 96. That city, boy, unbelievable. Let's see what Scott says. Have you noticed the difference between East Coast podcasts and West Coast? That's interesting. I don't do too many straight up West Coast podcasts. I guess the closest I get is Steel Toe. And sometimes Storm and I, as far as more a progressive kind of talk about every topic on the planet kind of podcast, I think Steel Toe kind of covers that.
Yeah, they're all over the place for sure. Sometimes I can't watch all of it. Actually, most times I can't. I've got to watch pieces here and there.
And that's the whole thing. It's not that it's a bad show, but sometimes they just talk about too much or more that you might not be interested in the very thing they're talking about at that moment. So that's it.
Right.
So I think,
no
Stormee,
idea
I
who
think,
they're talking about.
yeah, right. So I think all in all, I think we had a good second show technologically wise. What do you think, Stormee?
I think
Hopefully
so.
it's not-
I think that it went pretty smooth.
Yep. And so whatever you got set this week and you think it's going to work next time, forget about it. Right? Yeah, so
for sure. And
well, that's good.
We'll be Facebook group too. I don't know if you plugged.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. I had that open earlier. I like that. You're my extra brain cell. Appreciate that. I'll put that up and we're going to get out of here because it's 11 o'clock at the top of the hour. And this is how we're going to close out today's show. So, yes. So, please, as I'm kind of like just moving on and doing kind of my own independent thing. And I didn't want to use the other channel to broadcast on Facebook, but I still wanted to bring this show to you on Facebook. So, this is just a branch of a channel that I already have. And I showed you earlier on YouTube, the Armchair Comic Channel Facebook group. So please, once again, that's free too. Come subscribe and we'll share all the links for all of these shows that we're talking about. If they come on live and you don't know it and you're not getting the notifications, if you're part of this Facebook group, we'll have it there for you, for sure. All right, Stormee, thank you for reminding me of that. And with that, we're going to keep it a tight hour. We're heading over to the BS show. I will see you after the BS show at 12 noon on the Levyland special Patreon Rob Saul live show. For Stormee, I'm BF Bobby Fran. We hope you enjoyed episode 4 of Morning Coffee Pod with BF and Stormee, and we'll see you next Monday, 10 a.m. We'll see ya. Take care. Peace and love, and God bless. See you next time we see ya. Thank you, Jerry.
Bye.
Peace and love. Peace and love.